Accidental opioid overdose deaths have surpassed the number of people dying in car crashes nationwide. And in the last 5 years, overdose deaths in the Sioux Falls area have gone up 130%. According to the CDC, an estimated 94 people died last year in South Dakota from fentanyl. Dealers are lacing fentanyl in most illegal drugs. It only takes what's equivalent to 4 grains of salt to kill someone. Most people have no idea what they're getting when they buy a pill or powder from a drug dealer. There is a tool to detect this deadly synthetic drug, but as Angela Kennedy has discovered, in South Dakota, it's illegal to possess fentanyl testing strips, even if they would save lives. Tonight's Colorland News investigation found out that people working in harm reduction had no idea that was against the law.
Does anybody have a good definition of stigma?
Melissa Dittberner is a University of South Dakota addiction studies professor. On this night, she's instructing medical students on treating addiction. Dittberner also trains people on how to use Narcan to reverse opioid overdose and passes out care packages to those at risk, such as people who are homeless, which contain fentanyl strips.
I really think we need to make it not a stigma issue, right? Sometimes it's about people who use substances are stigmatized because they use, and it's only certain substances. So if this was an alcohol matter, would it be the same problem? I think just taking away some of that stigma and being able to get people the tools that they need to get the help that they need and understand that addiction is a disease of the brain and not a willpower issue.
Fentanyl testing strips cost about $1 each. A drug user can take a small quantity of the substance, add water, and dip a strip into it. 1 red stripe means it has fentanyl. 2 stripes means it doesn't. The strips don't tell you how much fentanyl is present in the drug.
Why are fentanyl strips so important?
Well, they keep people alive. They don't, fentanyl is being put into almost any drug.
However, fentanyl strips remain illegal in about half of the states in this country because they are considered drug paraphernalia.
I was really shocked, actually, especially the fact that, handing them out might be a problem.
Any drug paraphernalia in South Dakota is illegal.
According to South Dakota law, drug paraphernalia is any product or material for testing or analyzing. South Dakota Democratic Senator Reynold Nesseba plans to introduce legislation in the next session that would change that by adding a line to the law that reads, drug paraphernalia does not include any testing equipment used to determine whether a controlled substance has been adulterated with a synthetic opioid.
We don't want people using illegal drugs in South Dakota, but we also want to mitigate the harm for those that are using it. We know that even people who want to get into treatment oftentimes have to wait weeks or months to be able to get access to care. We want to keep people alive. And so this is a common sense measure to allow people to test the drugs that they're using, and if they detect fentanyl, to simply not take it.
Have you ever heard of anyone getting arrested for having a fentanyl strip?
No. We've heard of the fentanyl strips on the coast. We haven't seen any of that in Sioux Falls.
Well, Sioux Falls police say they haven't seen fentanyl testing strips. We know they're out there for the simple fact that Dittberner and her students have been handing them out. Officer Clemens says it will be up to a police officer's discretion whether to pursue charges for a Class 2 misdemeanor.
It's the equivalent of like a speeding ticket or running a red light. We're not going to solve addictions by arresting people.
Nesseba says lawmakers will have to take another look at paraphernalia laws anyway because of the legalization of medical marijuana and the potential legalization of recreational weed in November. But reducing fentanyl poisoning deaths is a top priority for Nesseba.
Fentanyl test strips are not the only solution to this problem. We need to continue to make sure that people have access to care, to be able to get off the drugs, to be able to have addiction treatment, and simply just to have greater access to health care.
Dittberner says keeping people alive until they can get help is the goal.
Would you risk being charged with a crime to hand out these fentanyl strips?
Absolutely, because I know it will save people's lives. I've seen it, I've heard about it, I know it, and yeah, it's worth it to save someone's life.
For Colorland Investigates, I'm Angela Kennedy.
Several states recently legalized fentanyl testing strips, and Iowa Attorney General Tom Miller has called for legalization as overdoses rise. As part of this investigation, Angela interviewed the parents of a young Parker man who took a drug that he didn't know contained fentanyl and died. You can find that story on our website right now.